There is an unsettling truth about quantum manifestation, so simple, so obvious, so accessible, that most people ignore it and stay trapped in a cycle of frustration and effort. Not because they're incapable, but because they learned that anything simple has no value. The mind searches for complexity to feel in control, but the quantum field doesn't respond to the logical mind. It responds to frequency, and right now, it is reacting to your vibration, even if you haven't done anything yet. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract everything effortlessly, while others, even with hard work, can't move forward? Maybe it's not about doing more. Maybe it's about emitting differently. And that's exactly what this video will show you, without mysticism or magic formulas. Why spiritual manifestation is so simple, and yet almost no one practices it. How your vibrational identity creates realities even before you take action. The true role of emotions, coherence, and presence in the quantum leap, and why the universe doesn't respond to what you want but to what you are. This is not another video teaching you how to visualize things. Here you will understand deeply how the quantum field organizes itself around your vibration. You'll see why the invisible responds precisely to your emotional frequency. And more importantly, you'll discover what has been blocking you and how to unlock it now, consciously. If you feel you're ready to stop chasing life and start co-creating with it from the inside out, stay with me until the end. Because maybe what you're missing isn't more effort. It's simply understanding how to flip the switch. And before we dive into this content, make sure to subscribe and activate the notifications. That way you continue receiving videos like this to align your vibration with the reality you were born to live. The beginning, the hidden simplicity. Why manifestation is easy, but nobody believes it. A lot of people still believe that for something to work, it has to be hard. This invisible programming comes from a world that rewarded sweat more than wisdom. But what if I told you that quantum manifestation is actually too simple, so simple that the ego doesn't trust it? It's like looking for the elevator button thinking you need to climb all the stairs to the top. The truth is that the quantum field doesn't require physical effort. It responds to energy. And the most powerful energy is the one that flows clean, without fear, without attachment, without doubt. But how can we trust the invisible if we were taught to only trust what hurts? The human mind ties value to sacrifice, as if something could only be real if it cost blood. That's why so many sabotage their own spiritual manifestation. It feels too good to be true. Sadhguru once said, "Simplicity is disarming." And he's right. Simplicity messes with our sense of control. If manifesting were like solving a Rubik's Cube, maybe the mind would accept it. But when someone says it's just about feeling, believing, and releasing, the doubt comes. That's it. That can't possibly work. Think of a light switch. You walk into a dark room and just need to touch one button to light everything up. You didn't need to build the electrical grid or understand voltage. The energy was already there. You just had to access the right channel. Manifesting is exactly that, touching the access point in the field of possibilities. But since no one teaches that in school, most people keep tripping over their own mental wiring. They create complex rituals, use hard words, follow 14-step plans, all to convince the brain that now they deserve to receive. But the quantum field doesn't respond to deserving, it responds to vibrational coherence. And you know what the hidden secret is? Conscious manifestation doesn't come from what you do, but from what you are. There's no use memorizing mantras if your vibrational frequency is still rooted in lack. It's like trying to hear peaceful music while tuned into a station of fear. That's why the switch doesn't work. Your internal station is misaligned. Often, those who read the most about quantum spirituality are the ones who resist simplicity the most, because the overstimulated mind craves formulas, not silence. But the field doesn't respond to formulas. It responds to states of being, and to access a higher state, you must let go of excess. A real example. When someone decides they're going to find a solution, but still feels anxious, guilty, desperate, they're telling the field, "I don't believe it's already mine." Spiritual manifestation dissolves before taking form, because their energy says lack even if their words say faith. That's why it's so rare to see someone manifesting with ease, because manifesting requires surrendering control, and control is what the mind clings to most. It's like telling someone, you can fly, but you'll have to let go of the ground. And few are ready to believe they have wings. The simplicity of quantum manifestation is scary because it demands maturity. It's not about repeating desires. It's about becoming a compatible vibrational identity. And identity can't be faked. It has to be embodied. That's why often those who talk the least about it manifest the most. They're not trying, they're being. While many still think manifesting is about writing things 1,000 times on paper, there are those who just close their eyes, take a deep breath, align intention and emotion, and watch the field respond. Not because they memorized every detail about quantum spiritual physics, but because they understood the universe hears the heart long before it hears words. And when you emit from the right place, the field responds with precision. And maybe, just maybe, this entire simplicity is calling you now. Maybe you've already experienced this and didn't even realize. Maybe it was that one time you let go of everything and suddenly everything worked out. But were you present enough to recognize the sign? And now the field, the true creator of your reality. Einstein once said, everything is energy and that's all there is. But that truth remains locked away on the shelf of theory, while most people live as if the world is made only of matter. But quantum manifestation begins where physical eyes stop. What creates your reality isn't what you touch, it's what you vibrate. And the quantum field, that is the true architect of your experience. Have you ever walked into a place and felt that something was heavy? Or crossed paths with someone and instantly knew you could trust them, without a word? That's the field responding. It's your intuitive reading of what's being emitted, not what's being said. The quantum field responds before action. It reads frequency, and that changes everything. Because your life doesn't shift when you do more, it shifts when you vibrate differently. Spiritual quantum physics reminds us, we are 99.99999% energy. Matter is just the tip of the vibrational iceberg you emit every single day. And if you change the field and everything else changes by consequence. Imagine the universe as a vast dance floor. The music that plays around you always matches your inner rhythm. If you vibrate anxiety, the dance becomes friction. If you vibrate gratitude, reality moves in your flow. It's your vibrational frequency that commands the invisible DJ. Conscious manifestation isn't about convincing the world with words. It's about speaking to the field through your silent vibration. That's why so many people ask but never receive, because the quantum field doesn't hear what you want. It translates what you are. And that being is made up of emotions, thoughts, and intentions. Want a practical example? Think of those days when you wake up in peace without rushing, and things just flow, no traffic, good news, unexpected blessings. You didn't force anything, you simply tuned into the field. That's the dance of synchronicity, spiritual manifestation in motion. But here's the thing, the field doesn't get it wrong. If it's returning confusion, it's because something inside you is emitting misalignment. That's why energy reprogramming is so powerful. It changes the signal at its root. You don't fix a broken antenna by shouting louder. You adjust the transmitter, and the universe responds with clarity. Now, if we are energy, why do we still live as if we're only flesh, bone, and exhaustion? Because we were trained to look outward and forget the world within. But everything begins in the invisible. Quantum manifestation is only the echo of what you've already vibrated. Deep down, the field is like an intelligent mirror. It doesn't reflect what you wish, it reflects what you sustain. If you want love but vibrate fear, the field shows you fear. If you want abundance but feel small, it delivers scarcity. The field doesn't judge, it simply reflects. And that's why the deepest work isn't asking, it's becoming. True spiritual manifestation begins in silence. It begins when you stop manipulating what's outside and start observing what's pulsing inside. That's the space where the field changes, without effort, without rush, without doubt. Maybe now you understand why some people change everything without moving a single piece on the external chessboard. They didn't change the game, They change the inner player. And when the vibrational identity shifts, the field responds. But what happens when that field encounters a distorted signal? And now let's understand the law of emission. You transmit before you try. Before you even act, you've already transmitted. And the quantum field, which doesn't negotiate with appearances, simply responds to the dominant signal. It's not what you say, it's what vibrates in the silence of your being. Quantum manifestation isn't activated by effort, but by frequency. Reality feels your vibration long before it sees your intention. It's like walking into a room where someone is smiling, but the air feels heavy. You can't quite explain it, but something feels off. That's spiritual energy speaking louder than words. The universe doesn't react to what you say you want. It responds to what you're transmitting in the unseen. Many people study the law of attraction as if it were a cake recipe, but they miss the secret ingredient: dominant emotion. Loose thoughts don't collapse reality. Sustained vibration does. If your body is in fear, it won't matter if your mind repeats, "I trust." True vibration will always overpower rehearsed thought. Imagine a radio trying to catch jazz while tuned to a heavy metal station. No matter how much you want to hear different music, the station only changes when you turn the frequency dial. Conscious manifestation is just that, changing your inner station. Because the quantum field tunes into what you are, not what you wish to be. Want to attract peace? Emit peace first. Want to experience love? Feel worthy of love before you chase it. Want prosperity? Align with the vibrational frequency of abundance. This isn't poetry. It's applied spiritual quantum physics. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you consistently vibrate. And that's where the dilemma lies. Most people emit lack while thinking about abundance. They speak of spiritual manifestation, but vibrate urgency, fear, and doubt. The field picks up on this and returns more of the same. It's like a broken antenna trying to pick up a clear signal. Misaligned emission confuses the universe. Then comes the question, why isn't it working for me? And the answer is simple yet challenging, because you're still trying to control the field with your mind, when the real secret is aligning heart, body, and emotion. It's not about doing more, it's about emitting better. Think of the magnetism of someone who's at peace with who they are. That person doesn't need to explain their frequency. It's felt. That's true emission, silent, coherent, non-negotiable. It tells the field, this is who I am. And the field replies, then let it be so. And you don't have to be perfect all the time. Quantum manifestation doesn't require holiness. It requires honesty. You can feel afraid, but if you admit it and work on your vibration, the field understands and recalibrates. Energy reprogramming begins with vibrational truth. So instead of asking, what do I want to manifest? Start asking, what am I emitting right now? Because your present is the consequence of past emission, and your future will mirror the frequency you're sustaining today. It's not about trying harder, it's about vibrating clearer. Now take a deep breath. Think of something you've been trying to attract, and ask yourself if your emission is aligned with it or sabotaging it. Maybe your desire hasn't arrived yet, not because it's far, but because your inner station still hasn't changed. And now let's understand the observer. What collapses reality? Reality is not a straight line. It's a field of infinite possibilities that collapses in the presence of your observation. This isn't just a philosophical concept. It's a fact proven by quantum physics. The double-slit experiment, explained by David Baer, reveals this in a powerful way. The presence of the observer changes the outcome. That's simple. Light, which could behave as a wave or as a particle, changes its behavior when someone observes it, as if reality itself said, "Show me who you are, and I'll show you what I'll become." That is the essence of quantum manifestation. Your attention is the brush that shapes the invisible canvas of creation. Have you noticed how when you buy a new car, you suddenly start seeing it everywhere? They were always there, but now your focus brings them into view. That's your RAS, reticular activating system, doing its job of collapsing realities. Your mind doesn't see the world as it is. It sees what you've programmed it to notice. The quantum field works the same way. You collapse parallel realities, not through effort but through focus. The vibrational identity you carry determines which version of the world manifests before you. You don't change what exists outside, you change what you choose to see. And that perspective transforms the invisible into the tangible. That's why attention is power. What you feed with your gaze grows, what you ignore withers. If you spend your days observing lack, pain, and chaos, that's the field you strengthen. And the universe says, all right, so be it. Spiritual manifestation depends on presence. There's no point in desiring a future if your gaze is always stuck in the past, because reality only collapses in the now. It is here, in the silence of your full attention, that the collapse happens. It's not about doing, it's about perceiving with awareness. Have you noticed how some spiritual masters seem to move reality with ease? They're not in a hurry. They don't resist the flow. They simply observe with such clarity that the field bends in response to their presence. They don't beg for change. They embody it through their gaze. But be mindful. This isn't positive thinking. It's deep energy reprogramming. It's training your inner observer to see beyond fear, doubt, and repetition. It's waking up and choosing where to place your focus, even in the middle of chaos. That is conscious manifestation. That is spiritual maturity. Want an example? When you experience loss, you can collapse the field of eternal mourning, or over time choose to observe the learning. The pain doesn't disappear, but the meaning changes, and with it, the reality around you begins to shift as well. The field is not cruel, it is precise. It delivers exactly what you confirm through sustained attention. If you say you want love, but only observe betrayal, that's the mirror the universe will show you. Because the observer isn't neutral. The observer is a creator. That's why the greatest quantum leap isn't external. It's changing what you see within what already exists. It's training your gaze to find possibilities, even where the mind only saw limitations. But what happens when all those possibilities are already available right now? And now let's understand superposition. All your versions already exist now. There's an idea so powerful. Most people resist it the moment they hear it. All of your versions already exist, right now. The healed version, the prosperous one, the peaceful one. They're all alive in the field of possibilities. The quantum leap isn't about creating something new. It's about collapsing what's already available. Spiritual quantum physics calls this superposition. An infinite number of realities coexisting, just waiting for your vibrational choice. Like TV channels that are already broadcasting, you just need to tune into the right frequency. You don't need to fabricate reality. You need to align your inner antenna. But that's scary, isn't it? Because it places full responsibility on your vibrational identity. If the version you're living today is a result of your frequency, that means the world isn't punishing you. It's just mirroring you back. Once he went through something like this. He was in a job that drained his soul, lukewarm relationships, fragile health. It all seemed normal. Until, in a moment of deep silence, he realized, this is just one of the possible versions of me. And in that instant, something collapsed. He didn't make any drastic external changes. He simply shifted what he accepted as truth about himself. He began to act like someone who had already crossed over. And, interestingly, circumstances started to move. Synchronicities appeared. Unexpected opportunities, new people with old soul resonance. This is quantum manifestation in its purest form. It's not chasing after something. It's collapsing what already exists. It's realizing that the quantum field doesn't hold you back. It waits for your subtle command. And that command is vibrational, silent, internal. Reality changes when you change your inner station. But be mindful. Shifting versions requires detachment. You can't carry the frequency of I'm a victim of everything and access the version of I'm the author of my life. You have to choose and sustain that choice, even when the outside tries to pull you back. This kind of energy reprogramming begins with courage. You don't need to wait to deserve a new reality. It's already alive, ready to be collapsed. What's missing isn't proof, it's presence, not divine permission, but vibrational alignment. Spiritual manifestation doesn't need more time. It needs more truth. And if you still doubt it, think about this. You've already experienced quantum leaps without even realizing it. That move to a new city that seemed crazy and opened doors. That breakup that hurt and healed. That moment of intuition, that became a rebirth. Those leaps weren't planned. They were tuned into. You simply let go of one version and embodied another. And when that happens, the universe rearranges itself, because the quantum field recognizes who you choose to be and delivers the version of reality that matches that decision. Maybe right now you're standing before invisible crossroads, subtle paths opening, waiting for a frequency to collapse into form. You might not see it yet, but the field is already moving. And the question is, which version of you is about to take the place of your now? But the field only delivers with clarity when there is coherence in the signal. And now let's explore coherence, the signal the field perfectly understands. Imagine trying to speak to the universe, using 3 different voices at once. The mind says one thing, the body feels another, and the heart is in conflict. That's the static that confuses the quantum field. Quantum manifestation only happens when there's vibrational coherence. And coherence is when thought, emotion, and action all say the same thing. Joe Dispenza describes it as a marriage between brain and heart. When those 2 centers align, the field responds with precision. It's like turning a scattered beam of light into a focused laser. A flashlight spreads out and barely illuminates, but a laser cuts through steel because its vibration is aligned. Many people think positively, but feel fear. They affirm abundance, but their body vibrates urgency. That disconnect creates energetic interference. The quantum field doesn't respond to your surface-level intention. It responds to your dominant, repeated, coherent signal. Ever tried tuning a radio while the dial keeps spinning back and forth? All you get is static confusion. That's how the field perceives most people: unstable, noisy, inconsistent. Energy reprogramming begins the moment you stop changing the station every second and start sustaining a clear emission with steadiness and presence. Want a practical example? Think of someone who wants prosperity but constantly says money is dirty, or someone who wants a relationship but doesn't trust anyone. The mind says yes, the vibration says no, and the field delivers confusion, not manifestation. Emotional coherence is like a calibrated compass. You point north, and you stay the course even when the wind tries to push you off track, because the universe only starts to take you seriously when you stop sending mixed signals. Spiritual manifestation isn't about wishing harder. It's about becoming a stable frequency. It's about living as if what you desire is already part of your identity, because the quantum field responds to what's integrated, not to what's merely wanted. But maintaining coherence takes practice. It takes internal observation. It takes noticing when you're slipping into old patterns and gently bringing yourself back to center. That's the real energetic discipline, choosing your frequency and sustaining it. Think of a musician tuning their instrument. They don't get it right immediately. They test, adjust, and listen. You can tune your vibration the same way, by breathing, observing, recalibrating. Quantum manifestation doesn't require rushing. It requires harmony. And when that harmony clicks into place, reality responds almost instantly. Synchronicities increase, doors open, the field of possibilities begins reorganizing around you, because now it understands you. Maybe you felt it before. A moment when everything flowed effortlessly. Maybe it was a peaceful day, an aligned decision, a silence that spoke louder than words. In that moment, you were in coherence. But what happens when that coherence is disrupted by attachment to the outcome? Now let's understand why blocked people never manifest and how to unlock it. The question many people silently ask is, why can't I manifest? They've read the books, watched the videos, tried the techniques, but still feel like quantum manifestation is a gift reserved for a chosen few. But the issue isn't a lack of ability, it's an excess of emotional and energetic blockage. There are 3 invisible sabotages that jam the quantum field, and the first one is excessive need. When desire becomes desperation, the field interprets it as absence, and instead of attracting, you repel. Because the dominant vibrational frequency is, "I still don't have it." It's like trying to hold water by squeezing too tightly. The more afraid you are to lose, the more it slips through your fingers. The quantum field responds to lightness, not panic. To trust, not begging. You don't manifest what you plead for. You manifest what you embody with faith. The second sabotage is attachment to the outcome. Someone says they trust but keeps peeking at the field every second, like someone who plants a seed and digs it up daily to check if it's sprouted. That kind of energy suffocates spiritual manifestation because it tells the universe, "I still don't believe it's already mine." And then there's the reinforcement of the past over the future. People carrying scars as if they were contracts with reality, saying things like, "It never works out for me. I always lose. I wasn't born for this." And the field, like an impartial mirror, keeps delivering more of the same. He went through that himself. He deeply desired a true relationship, but every time someone got close, something would sabotage it, until he realized he was still trapped in the trauma of an old rejection. Until he healed the root, his vibration screamed, "Careful, it'll hurt again." The unlocking happened the day he let go. Let go of fear, let go of control, let go of the past, not just with words, but in the body, the heart, and the breath. And not long after, someone arrived. No effort, no searching, no desperation. Unlocking conscious manifestation begins with self-honesty, admitting that what's blocked is not the universe. It's the fear of losing, the rush to arrive, the addiction to yesterday's patterns. It's letting go of the idea that you have to fight to deserve, and beginning to allow with silent trust. Want to practice this? Choose a deep desire and observe. Are you trusting or trying to control? Are you emitting faith or transmitting lack dressed as spirituality? Change begins the moment you stop lying to yourself. The quantum field doesn't demand perfection, but it does require emotional integrity. And the first step to unlocking is to stop feeding the same vibrational patterns you say you want to transcend. But what if those patterns are rooted in the emotions you still carry? And now let's understand the physics of emotion, how your feelings shape your future. There's a silent law that shapes reality before any action takes place. This law isn't found in rulebooks, but in your vibrational field. It's called emotion. In quantum spirituality, emotion is energy in motion, emotion. And that energy decides which door will open before you. Quantum science has already proven that everything vibrates, but few realize that emotions are the greatest broadcasters of vibrational frequency. You can have good intentions, beautiful words, but if your emotional field vibrates fear, scarcity, or anger, the universe receives that as the signal you want to reinforce. Think of emotion as the energetic signature of your reality. It's what tells the field what you're ready to live, and each emotion carries its own frequency. Gratitude vibrates high, guilt vibrates low, and the field responds without judgment, but with precision. Imagine the universe as a liquid mirror. It moves according to what you feel, not what you say. If you feel love, it reflects wholeness. If you feel fear, it returns limitation. That's the physics of conscious manifestation. Davy speaks of a powerful emotional scale. In it, emotions like gratitude, love, joy, acceptance are at the top of the vibrational spectrum, while shame, apathy, and resentment completely block the co-creation of reality. Gratitude is the frequency of fulfillment. When you give thanks before seeing, the field understands that you've already received, and it collapses reality in alignment with that vibration. This is the true secret behind spiritual manifestation. Love is the frequency of creation, not romantic idealized love, but the state of deep communion with all that is. When you vibrate in love, you open channels of possibility. You become a bridge between parallel realities and the now. Fear is the frequency of stagnation. It doesn't matter how much you desire something. If deep down you're vibrating insecurity, the field freezes. It's not punishing you, it's protecting you from incoherence, but it also invites you to move from survival to co-creation. Want a simple exercise? Observe your dominant emotion for 3 days, without judging, just feeling. Write it all down, how you feel upon waking, before sleeping, while interacting with others. That will show you the frequency you're emitting, with or without intention. Energy reprogramming begins when you intentionally choose an elevated emotion to carry throughout your day. It can be gratitude, it can be acceptance. It's not about pretending, it's about cultivating, and daily practice transforms the field around you. Maybe now you realize that the future you've been seeking doesn't live in another reality. It lives in another emotion, and that emotion is just one breath away. But what happens when you choose to sustain that new frequency, even without guarantees? And now let's finally understand the mechanism of the quantum leap, how reality truly changes. Most people believe that reality changes gradually, like a long staircase you need to climb step by step. But in quantum spirituality, real transformation happens in leaps. Quantum leaps are like crossing vibrational portals, and to cross them, you don't need time. You need a decision. But not just any decision. It's a decision infused with coherence, courage, and inspired action. It's when you choose a new vibrational identity and begin to live it so fully that the quantum field has no choice but to rearrange everything around you. David Baer explains this clearly. A new identity reorganizes perception, action, and synchronicities. In other words, when you change internally, the world shifts as a consequence, not because you forced it, but because you became incompatible with the old version of reality. Imagine an invisible bridge. You only see the next step when you take a step in faith. That's the logic of a quantum leap. You don't wait for certainty to move. You move, and the field builds the foundation as you walk. That trust is the signature of the leap. But pay attention. This process is not intellectual. You don't make a quantum leap just because you understand it rationally. It happens when your emotion, body, and mind pulse in unison. Energy reprogramming doesn't occur with positive thoughts alone. It happens with embodied vibration. He lived this while leaving a suffocating professional cycle. For years he thought about change, but kept waiting for the right moment. The leap happened the day he made a coherent decision, even while afraid, a decision aligned with the identity he already felt emerging from within. And the universe responded swiftly. People think they need proof to act. But in conscious manifestation, the field needs to see your action to give you proof. It's as if it says, "Be, and then I will become." Doubt paralyzes, presence moves, and the leap occurs between those two states. Want to live a quantum leap? Stop trying, start embodying. Don't wait to feel ready to become. Be now with what you have, where you are. Vibration comes before the visible. Quantum manifestation responds to congruence. It's not about dreaming big, it's about living aligned. You can have magnificent desires, but if your actions still reinforce the old version, the field will understand you haven't crossed over yet. The leap happens when you stop negotiating with the old self, when you close doors that no longer serve, even without knowing what lies ahead. It's a vibrational act of faith, and the universe recognizes it as spiritual maturity. Maybe now you realize that the quantum leap you've been waiting for doesn't depend on time. It depends on you, on the version you decide to sustain. But what happens when you finally let go of control and surrender this new version to the flow? And now that you've felt that you don't need to fight life to create a new reality, tell me honestly, which part of you still insists on complicating what is already simple? Which version of you still believes you have to suffer to be worthy? Maybe the quantum leap you're waiting for isn't something you need to achieve, but something you need to release. A fear, a need for control, an old vibrational identity, something that no longer serves you, yet you still carry out of habit. What would happen if today you decided to let go of the outcome and simply trust the vibration you've been cultivating? Could it be that the field has been waiting just for this silent gesture of surrender to rearrange everything around you? Now tell me, what was the most powerful insight you received from this video? Which part shifted your frequency? Write it in the comments. Your sharing may be the mirror another soul needed to find today. And if this content brought you clarity, comfort, or that gentle nudge, like this video, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll keep receiving content that aligns your energy with what already exists for you in the field of possibilities. Because deep down, as you already know, reality changes when you do.